he punctured my left tit, via my breastbone. I'm aware that it has been almost 2 years since I have posted. They're never going to be funnier than me. That's a challenge. You know what? If someone wants to be funnier than me or as funny as me, please, I beg you, I would like to laugh. I would prefer to say that my ex was perfidious instead of disloyal or a cheater, you know? There's just snot and tears and liquid coming out of everywhere, and they are just like shaking and blubbering. And you know what?
We just see where we end up. You know, it's basically the game of telephone. This is Tangent Telephone.
Hello, my dudes, and welcome back to Tangent Telephone. Firstly, I fear we're gonna have to change my dudes to something else because that doesn't really resonate with me anymore. It doesn't feel right to say that. I don't feel like you're my dudes. Okay, so we're gonna workshop that one. Before I get into things, very obvious things, elephants literally all over this room. It's crazy. I'm surprised I can even fit in this room with all the elephants that are in here. I would like to say that, yes, this first episode is coming out on a Friday at 4:44 p.m., by the way, Pacific Standard Time. However, moving forward, episodes are going to come out on Thursdays at 4:44 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're not in that time zone, you can figure out whatever the fuck that means for you. And, you know, while we're at it, just make sure that you're subscribed on Spotify and on YouTube, or if you're listening on Apple, Amazon, make sure you're subscribed there. But also, I would argue you should come over to Spotify and or YouTube, because then you can see me in all of my glory and my set, which is not, it's changing in 2 weeks, okay? But this is what it is for now. And you know what? I'm wearing a really cute Valentine's Day sweatshirt. I don't care about Valentine's Day this year. It's very much situational based on if I'm in a relationship or not. That's not true. I enjoy it sometimes when I'm hanging out with my girlfriends, but this year it's just going to be, I'm protesting. I have dance practice that day anyway. So, anywho, first of all, hi. I'm aware that it has been almost 2 years since I have posted. And the reason that I'm posting this today, by the way, on February 13th, is because, drumroll please, finally, on February 13th, 2026, Saturn moves into Aries. If you know, you know, but let's just say my Saturn is in Pisces, aka my Saturn return was almost 3 years long just now, okay? It started in March 2023. It's finally fucking ending the day that you're watching / listening to this. What? The longest 3 years of my life, the hardest, the most growth for sure. And anytime near the end when it would retrograde out of Pisces is when I had like the best times of my life. Of course, I went back into Pisces in October of last year, which is why life has been hell since then. But holy shit, I've been waiting for this moment literally since March of 2023. Okay, I can't take it anymore. I am perishing. I don't have the pop filter on my mic, so you might really hate this first episode, and I might need to figure that out next time, but just try and deal with it, okay? Back to some of the elephants that we're tackling, okay? The next 3 episodes after today are going to be, I don't want to call it a life update. Really what it's going to be is, the next episode is going to be kind of what you missed in 2024 and 2025, what has happened, like some, you know, key things that have happened since I last posted, which I believe was the end of March. I think it was the end of March 2024, and why this break lasted nearly 2 years instead of, you know, a couple of months. And now that I'm thinking about it, it would also be interesting to show you the vision book. Yeah, I made like a vision book kind of for 2025, because literally every single thing on it happened. But the thing is, I didn't make one for 2026 because I think for some of the things I was not specific enough somehow, and it was interpreted in a weird way by the universe, because they happened, but then they greatly backfired. It'll make sense over the next few weeks when we do life updates. But, and then some of them I was like too specific about. Like, example, when you know, take a check and you write like an amount on it. Some of them I was too specific about, and I really lowballed myself. And then it was, we might do that, because it actually is kind of creepy how much like every single thing did happen in my vision book. So there's that for next week. But still, it was a very good year, being 30, which I was gonna say, it was recent, I guess. End of September, I turned 31. 30 was a really good year, a year of a lot of growth. And then, yeah, up until mid-September, The universe and I, we were like this, okay? We were tight, and then things kind of went to shit. But anywho, so that'll be the next episode. And then also next episode, I just posted on my Instagram and also the podcast Instagram for you to just, ask any questions you have about like the past 2 years, I guess, which is crazy. Like so much has happened. I feel like my face, I don't know how to turn the air conditioning on in here. We're not in my home, by the way. So, but I couldn't figure out how to turn the AC on, and I feel like my face is about to turn bright ass red. It's so hot in here. I don't understand. For episode 3 of season 3, that is when I'm going to talk about everything that happened between October of last year and now. We're essentially just doing a whole episode about everything that happened, and then maybe in the same episode, maybe the next, it's going to be about what it was like to date a pathological liar who literally ruined everything, and all of the very disturbing and devastating, horrendous things that were going on that I didn't know about, and that ultimately led to me being forced to grieve yet again. It's like I can never finish grieving until something else happens. It's like, who the fuck did I marry but on steroids? But I didn't marry them. But the things that happened, and I didn't even decide until very recently that I was going to talk about it, but no, fuck that, I'm talking about it, okay? Because I knew the podcast was coming back tomorrow, aka today when you're watching this, but it's February 12th today. Because I knew it was coming back, I was like, I'm gonna have 4 episodes filmed by then so that I have some banked. But I'm glad that I waited until today, because from November until like 2 weeks ago-ish, I was like 80 pounds and looked like I was actively perishing. Luckily, I've started to gain weight back. I've gained probably like 10 or so pounds back, still going. But I would really hate for you to be looking at a corpse. So that is also good news for you. Anyway, we're not gonna get into the topic because obviously we're gonna get there over the next few weeks, and I'm just currently not emotionally doing so hot, and I'm grieving. So let's just go, okay? I want to talk about my ins and outs for 2026 because I did this episode back in 2024. It may have even been like the second to last episode. Was it the last episode before I disappeared? No, I think it had to have been like the second or third to last episode. My ins and outs of 2024. It would be interesting to revisit those to see if I stuck with them, but I'm almost a little bit scared to do that. Also, I'm not gonna lie, the lighting in here was supposed to be better. Didn't bring any lighting. We didn't bring any lighting. I mean, there's windows everywhere, but there's also, I don't know, it's weird outside today. So I had my phone flashlight propped up down there, but then I don't think it was doing anything. I also have 4 separate camera angles at the moment, and I don't know which ones are gonna end up being used. I'm gonna turn my flashlight off though. Oh my gosh, also if you didn't notice, I did bring the OG purple phone because, I don't know, I felt like she should be here. You know how like season 1 was all pink branded and then season 2 was all blue, and I in fact even wore blue in every single episode? I was thinking about having this season be purple because the phone's purple, but then I'm like, I don't own a lot of purple. But as of now, even I don't know what color the cover art of this is going to be. I know what the photo is going to be, but haven't figured it out yet. Do we care about this? Probably not. Probably not. I don't know if I need this camera over here, to be honest. It's just kind of like the place I was going to record in today for these first 2 episodes was going to have the whole entire setup like already made for me, but then they last minute had to change, and so I booked a different place last minute. And by the way, I will have like a consistent studio. Well, I guess we'll kind of get into that in the next couple of weeks about moving and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, don't get used to this. Not that I want you to get used to this because it's not very good. Okay. Hold please. I have to put freaking CeraVe ointment on my lips because the other night my friend bit my lip and it bled, which is normal, but then this has never happened before. I get my lip bit a fair amount, I would say, but this time it like healed really weirdly and turned into a blister and then popped, and then like now it's a scab. It's not a freaking cold sore, okay? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think a lot of people have HSV1, but I actually don't. But it's like in the middle of my bottom lip, and when I speak, it just keeps bleeding because I just keep speaking. So I wish it wasn't so goddamn hot in here so I could like be sitting in like a cozy way and I wasn't dying of heat. So ins and outs for 2026. Some of these are ins just for me personally. Some of these are things I see for like the general population, or at least, Gen Z / millennials. Like things that I have been doing for years, but then have started to see become mainstream recently, and I'm including some of those. So like with every in or out that I talk about, I'll kind of touch on if it's something that I already implement or if it's a new addition for me. You get it. All right, I'm gonna be real. I'm turning off one of the cameras because I don't think it's giving anything anyway, and it's bothering me to have that many cameras pointed at me. So if there was any camera switching up until this point, we're back to just this one, just you and me, baby. Okay. I'm still literally, like, I'm so out of practice. Don't worry, it'll get better and it'll get so much more streamlined, and I also just can't wait for the next few episodes and for you guys to know everything. Driving me a little crazy, okay, my first in for 2026 is using the quote-unquote big words that I would prefer to use in conversation, but instead I hesitate because I don't want to sound like I'm being pretentious, but that's not real. And I have done this for as long as I can remember, dumbing myself down in conversation, or not dumbing myself down, but like I won't use words considered. But if I ever do use a word that, like, I guess isn't, I don't know, I was gonna say like an SAT word, but honestly, what even is an SAT word? Also, I took the ACT, so like, what is that? I don't know. Like, anytime I do use a word that most people don't know, but that's the other thing, I don't know how to gauge. I have a broad vocabulary, and I have dumbed it down for so long, shrunk it down in everyday conversation, but like in my head I think in a certain way with certain words. I don't know, it's gonna be actually kind of challenging to do, but anyway, anytime I have like used a word that I would prefer to use, there's always like like big word, whether they know what it means or not, I don't know. But you know what? I don't care. I'm not doing that anymore. I would prefer to say that my ex was perfidious instead of disloyal or a cheater, And if you don't know what that means, get a fucking dictionary, okay? It's not my problem. I would like to speak in the way that my inner monologue speaks, and my inner monologue is very well educated. Did you just hear that squeaky tire out there? I don't know. I don't know what the mic is picking up or not. This is my first rodeo back, okay? The next in, Eastern medicine. This is not new for me. It wasn't new for me even, 2 years ago when I was podcasting. But for the masses, it's a little bit crazy how, like, there's all these things that come up as trends or, like, what have you online. And it's like, no, this has been used for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. Like, Eastern medicine as a whole, that we have so far to go in our Western society. There's even, like, scientifically proven things, even at this point, some FDA regulated things that people are like, oh, that's just like woo-woo, and that's just what. The more people that can learn about Eastern medicine and about holistic healing, and I mean, there's Ayurveda, there's traditional Chinese medicine. There are so many things that are so much more effective treating the root cause and not just putting a bandage on your symptoms. There's just so many more options, and I'm glad that people are learning about them, but I don't know that people are learning about them in the right way. I think they're just seeing like, oh, this is a trend. I'm going to put on a castor oil pack, or I'm going to, I don't know. But that is an in for, obviously, myself. It will continue to be an in, and I see that continuing to happen this year. This is a personal one for me, again, but taking photos again. Again, since around September, kind of just stopped taking photos, whether that's of, I don't know, things that I'm doing in life, of what's happening around me, of other people, of myself. Yeah, I don't know. I've started doing it again recently, these past couple of weeks. The jewelry that I'm wearing, the food that I'm eating. And this isn't even just like to post, because I honestly, like, I've posted the least ever on social media since September. I am getting back into posting more, which is another thing that I want to do and that I'm doing, but just taking photos to fucking take photos, And then sometimes, yeah, they are really sick and they do end up, number 7 of 18 in a photo dump on Instagram. A lot of my creativity and creative desire and my soul, honestly, goes away when I'm in a toxic relationship and like I said, we're not going to get into that, but that's one of the things that I have noticed that, kind of goes away. Because, like, it's easy for me to notice, like, okay, I haven't done a single brand deal. I haven't filmed a single YouTube video. Like, my work is suffering. But then also it's like, wait, my camera roll is actually just a bunch of screenshots about avoidant people. And I would like for it to be full of beautiful things that I'm doing and photos that I'm taking of what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So in 2026, taking more photos. Another in is my morning routine. I'm still fine-tuning it, but I almost don't want to fine-tune it too much and make it too crazy. There's only like 3 things that I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this before I do anything. But yes, my morning routine. And I'll touch on that in a later episode, but it's so important. And also on that note, being in bed by 1 a.m. every night. And that might not sound like groundbreaking to you, but for me, someone that literally since 2019 has gotten between 2 and 5 hours of sleep a night, it's bad. Being in bed by 1 a.m. And I have been doing better at this for certain reasons recently. And, just getting more sleep in general. But for me, because I can't sleep in, like my body really won't let me, I need to be in bed earlier, I need to get my ass in bed earlier, which means a lot of things. It means not working until 2 a.m. and then eating dinner and then shower. Like, everything's got to be moved back. So another in, peptides. I've never injected anything, but I do use copper peptides on my skin and I love them. They're by the ordinary. Shout out. Amazing. Like, it's pretty much the only thing that I use on my skin. The next in is the law of assumption. I'm assuming you know what this means, okay? For so long, this was something that I loved the idea of it, but I didn't align with it. It didn't feel like the most effective way for me to live my life. And I also will say, even though I'm saying it's an in for me, the law of assumption is tricky for someone who, and I think this is why it never resonated with me, but for someone who has PTSD or CPTSD or even just a nervous system that's not regulated. The law of assumption is hard because it requires you to actually be at a baseline level of safety in your body before you even do the work. So I think that's why it's never quite worked for me, especially in really hard times. Like, it just doesn't resonate. However, I have a couple of times recently tried very hard. I've gotten my nervous system to a state where it's pretty freaking regulated. Okay, for a normal person, probably not even close to regulated. But for me, I spent like an hour doing some somatic work and doing some vagus nerve exercises and then attempting to kind of do some law of assumption practices. And let me tell you what, that actually fucking worked. It takes a lot for me to feel safe enough in my body to get there. And I think first I need to heal a little bit more in terms of regulation after the months that I just went through, which is really unfortunate because up until September, I had just spent like the whole year getting to such a good place, like maybe the best place I've ever been in ever. But it's okay. But I can talk more about law of assumption later if you would like. I'm realizing that I'm saying these things and I'm like, do I have to explain all of these? Just let me know if you would like me to dive into any of these. We have unlimited podcast episodes, so it's really a free-for-all. The next in is only entertaining men that are in my league in every single way, okay? I don't necessarily believe in leagues. Well, no, I do. We need to be at a similar level in every capacity. If not, they need to be above me, which I'm gonna be fucking honest, that's pretty hard. I've yet to meet a man that is more intelligent than me. I'm sorry. I've definitely yet to meet a man that has the emotional intelligence, and, well, that might be one where, as long as they're open to growth and doing the work. I would prefer them to already be doing the work or have done a lot of the work. No more projects. Also need to be just as hot, if not more hot than me. They need to be, well, here's another one. They're never going to be as funny as me, and they're never going to be funnier than me. That's a challenge. You know what? If someone wants to be funnier than me or as funny as me, please, I beg you, I would like to laugh for once, okay? I can't be the hot one, the funny one, the kind one, the forgiving one, the daddy. I can't be it all. And this is not me trying to gas myself up. I just am fucking tired. So at the very beginning, when I meet someone, when I notice, I've actually never dated someone that's, in my eyes, not my typical I'm not attracted to them like I'm attracted to most people that I've dated. Or they, you know, I got a vibe from them, or they spoke to me in a certain way, or what have you. Like, no more looking past things, which, by the way, I was actually doing a really great job at, which is why I was single for a year. But something happened. I slipped up. I don't know if it was because I was about to turn 31 and I was like, oh my God, I need to get married. But I let one slide. And you know what? I was out of his league in every single fucking way, and he still fucked my life up. I digress. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? Next in, red light therapy. I've been doing this quite literally since 2018, I think, but other people are starting to do it now. So this, again, is more of like a, for the masses. People are recognizing that it works. It works for pain. It works for inflammation. It works for at certain nanometers, skin healing, at others, muscle healing and repair. Blah, 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 blah. Red light therapy. Oh, this next one is kind of funny. I wrote, living by my menstrual cycle. It's kind of funny. I wrote this on January 12th, a month ago. And things have kind of changed my ability to be able to currently, in este momento, do this in this moment. But guess what? That's actually a fat ass blessing. And, however, I was attempting and really trying to do this all of last year. And it's very important and it's very helpful. Knowing what phase of your cycle you're in and treating your body accordingly. Very important. Things are a little bit different for me right now, but we'll get into that maybe later. I don't know. Wow. Interesting. Then my next in for 2026 is babies. Just babies. Next in is dancing. And I'm actually happy to say that since I wrote this list, I started doing dance classes. I even taught a class. I'm actually performing in a showcase in a couple of weeks. I'm having so much fun. It kind of, when I go through like a really hard period, I'm like, okay, I need to do all the things that I did when I was younger, all the things that young Annalise enjoyed. I just got full body chills. Which is why the next one on my list is piano. And yeah, dance is so important to me. And I'm so glad that I'm doing it again. Even last year, in the beginning of the year, I started taking some ballet classes again, some hip hop classes. I took hip hop classes kind of all throughout the year last year, but you know, I really kind of zeroed in recently, and I'm like, no, I have 2-hour rehearsals every Saturday, and I'm just loving it. I'm loving it. My next in, like I said, piano. I have not played it's because it's a keyboard, to be fair. I hate keyboards. I have a keyboard. I haven't touched it since, not even just the condo that I'm living at currently, which I've lived at for a year and a half, but I didn't touch it the whole time I lived at my last apartment in West Hollywood. I haven't touched it since early 2023 when I had a house in Studio City, Toluca Lake. But I need to, maybe when I move, I'll get an actual piano. That would be great. I just hate a keyboard. I think I was just clicking my rings a lot. I'm sorry about that. My next in is yachts. I love a yacht. Next, I have reading before bed instead of working. I definitely should start doing this. I haven't been reading before bed because what I do is in the morning, I journal and then I read for 10 minutes. And I'm always kind of like listening to audiobooks when I'm, doing things that allow for it. That just reminded me I should be getting into bed and reading. That is an in for me. Next in is holding people accountable publicly when they won't do it privately. Stay tuned. My next in is having all of my energy go toward, number one, my health, myself, me personally, my health, healing from the last 4 months, and also just my health is really important right now. My business that no one knows anything about yet, and charity and service, everything that it's kind of an all-encompassing thing. Those are kind of my focuses for 2026. I would also like to say family, and that is important. It's hard because when I go through hard times, like I said, especially this last time, I was really isolated from my entire family, and it's hard to then kind of come back and fill them in on everything that happened. Like, God. But also, I have a problem where if I get too involved, and I don't even live near my family, but then it's like, it's just hard for me to keep my cup full. Don't know if my cup has ever been fucking full. So focusing on myself and what I'm building, because ultimately what I'm building is going to help so many people. So that helps me feel a little bit better about being a little bit quote unquote selfish, even though it's not selfish, but it's just hard for me to do things that when I'm doing them, it kind of feels like, oh, this only benefits me, but like, that's not true. So anywho, I hope that made sense. Next, we have writing my book. I have a lot on this list. I really was like, I'm going to get through this so fast. No, I'm going to go a little bit faster. Next, kind of, I wrote capsule wardrobe-ish. I have so many fucking clothes. I'm constantly donating them. If I had more time, I would be selling them. But I'm like, you know what? I wear the same fucking shit. And if I'm going out to something, I'm wearing an outfit once. Like if I'm going out to like an event or something. There's too much. It's also hard to organize where I'm living right now. So this is going to happen when I move also. And I want more very good quality basics to get rid of bullshit that I've been holding on to. Even though I'm constantly donating, there's some things that just somehow end up, they just stay there. And I'm like, but I haven't worn you either ever or since 2019. And I don't need that in my life. It actually really stresses me out. So next, kind of off the back of writing my book, but not really. And I haven't created one yet, but Substack. I like that people are using Substack. Is my lip bleeding? Maybe. I like that people are using Substack. I think I'm going to make one, which is kind of funny because it's like I started my career online with my blog in 2014. And then obviously like kind of abandoned that. I just love writing and I have a lot to say, obviously. Yeah, I'm going to make a Substack. I'll let you know when I do. Next up, we have my documentary. You probably have no clue what that means, and that's okay, but I will talk about it. You'll hear more about it soon. It's relating to something that I've talked about online before. You'll hear more about it soon. For now, I just want to say that it's an in because it's another thing that I'm putting my focus toward and kind of relates to my business in a sense. Next, I have group classes. So we have, like dance, Pilates, yoga, hot yoga, bar, etc. For the first month of the year, had a class pass trial. I was doing hot yoga. I was doing hot Pilates. And by the way, I hadn't worked out for like 6 months. So I was like, I feel so good. Dance, obviously. But I really like a group class. And I canceled my Equinox membership maybe in I don't even remember. I think maybe like in November, but I hadn't been since September. And I was thinking about getting it again because they do have classes there. Maybe I will. I don't know. Either way, I'm doing dance classes currently. Maybe I'll do, I just like a group class. It helps my mental health a lot. So that's an in for me. Next in is butt cleavage. Really low back dress. Yeah, it's pretty much that's kind of it. I wouldn't say like your asshole hanging out of your, did I say asshole? I meant ass. Hello? I wouldn't say like your ass crack showing when you're wearing like low-rise jeans, which by the way isn't in, but it has been an in for me forever. I've never liked high-rise jeans. In fact, high-rise jeans, can we please stop? Like, I don't know how many times I have to ask for this. Like, I feel like it was 2012. I feel like I was in high school and I remember this one girl was wearing Abercrombie shorts and they were high-rise. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Get it out of my face. But then this thing happened where no one was making low-rise. So you kind of had to. Anyway, I digress. Butt cleavage in the sense of, or in the context of a low back dress. Chef's kiss. My next in is uploading to my YouTube channel again, which I have been doing. I've been posting members only videos. I've been posting Patreon videos. I've actually talked about the things that I'm going to be talking about the next couple of weeks a little bit on Patreon and on my YouTube, if you're curious. I went so long not uploading on YouTube, like my whole relationship. That's my baby, that is my baby. Even if it's been shadow banned is not the right word, but algorithmically suppressed for a very long time. It's my baby and I miss it. I love editing vlogs and videos. It's hard, like I said, again, with like the dance or writing. It's hard when I'm going through a hard time in a relationship specifically. It's a lot easier to create art when, this is just a side note, but like when things in life are hard, but it doesn't have to do with a romantic relationship for me. There's reasons behind that, whatever. But when it's a relationship, it's like, I swear to God, I'm like, I can't do anything. My creative brain is shut off. I am in survival mode. When it's an unhealthy relationship, I should say. When I'm in a healthy relationship, I'm uploading consistently and I'm, whatever. So uploading more to YouTube. And then obviously, this podcast is a huge in because we're back, bitches. My next in is members only clubs. I love a members only club. The Pendry, the Elwood Club. I just got like a free, I don't know how this happened, but there's a new, it's actually technically in LA. Maybe I'll go to some other events, but there's a new that I got like invited to, and just like, it's like a $30,000 membership, but they were like, you can have it for free. I was like, okay. I love going to Soho House. I like a members only vibe. My next in is not 2016 energy, because 2016 was the year that I was in the hospital, but rather 2015/2018 energy. Probably pretty personal for me, but oh no, I fear my camera's dying, and that's gonna make me really sad, because guess what? I was supposed to film 2 episodes at this set today, you guys. I'm gonna have to call I had like a crew come, but then I'm like, you guys can't be in here, sorry. My camera has reset 3 times, which means I've filmed for an hour and a half, and that does not seem right to me, but okay, this new thing where Ring is alerting me of, movement in my house or outside my house or whatever, but this new thing that I didn't sign up for, where it's AI, and it's like, there's a brown cat walking in the kitchen, there's a person placing a mug on the refrigerator. I'm like, how do I opt out of this? It's terrifying. Anywho, back to my list of ins. Justice, period. As a Libra who has faced a lot of injustice, I'm prioritizing justice, okay? And this is the last one on my list for some reason. Just letting men do things for me, princess treatment, if you will, and not feeling the need to reciprocate, especially not if they are not deserving. I think I went into that more in my outs. I know I have less outs than ins, but yes, those are some of my ins. Non-exhaustive list though, because there's a lot more. Oh yes, like I just was actually saying, my first out on the list is doing nice things for men, and then in parentheses, all of the time, to a level where it takes up a significant amount of my time when they're actively being a piece of shit to me. Oh, that's the end. It didn't need to have parentheses. I don't know. But yes, that's my number 1 out. My number 2 out is, this seems very superficial, but I swear it's not. Talking to a man in a romantic way that is balding before the age of, I wrote 35, but definitely before the age of 32, 33. And that's not, like I said, it sounds superficial, but no, it is actually, if you look it up, correlated. I'm not going to say this is causation, or I'm not going to say it's a sign, but it's highly correlated with high levels of narcissism, avoidance, psychopathy, sociopathy. And that's because those people are so internally stressed that it's got to start coming out in some way. I'm not going to go into that. You can look into that on your own time if you'd like, but I personally will not be entertaining a balding man again unless he's, above, let's say 35, especially if he's the same height as me, because then I'm staring at it constantly. And I don't want to say short men are on my out list, because I'm not someone who typically dates short men. I did recently do that. It's true, guys. But I am thinking about it. I am wondering. I'm not opposed to it. It's obviously very situational and it depends on the person. But there are some heavy correlations with not only being short, but being, well, I'm just going to stop there and just say that my out is if they're balding before 35. I'm not going to shut it down, but I'm going to see if there are other signs that I should be not talking to them, Okay. My next out is quite literal, and that's my boobs. I wanted them out anyway. I planned to get them out in October of last year, because that was my 10-year boobiversary, if you will. Okay, I got them in October 2015. How crazy. That was like some of my first videos on YouTube was my boob job vlogs. And yeah, so October 6th, 2025 was 10 years. And I'm not going to get into the issues and all of that stuff, but even that aside, like, you should be getting them at least replaced every 10 years. So I wanted them out anyway, was actually, had a consultation planned. Then in November, a certain man punctured my left one via my breastbone, and that sounds so gross to think about. Sorry, my lips are falling off my face. Guys, I just looked at my lips and there was like Aquaphor or whatever the fuck this is in the corners, and I'm really upset about that, so I hope you can't see that this far away. My battery is flashing. Oh my god, I need to finish this episode. We might be switching to other camera/phone in a second, but I'm almost done with my outs. So my boob was punctured, okay? Yeah, he punctured my left tit via my breastbone. And at the same time, my collarbone also was broken, which was it was painful, but it was more like I went into shock. But the crazy part is the boob puncture of it all, okay? And it's, by the way, that was in November. It hasn't been fixed. It's leaking. So that's an ASAP thing. Unfortunately, as you will learn over the next couple of weeks, all of my savings are gone because of things that you'll hear about over the next few weeks. But if you haven't noticed, they kind of all tie back to a short balding man. So yeah, my titty is ruptured. Anyway, next one. My next out is paying $9,000 on rent. To be fair, I was not doing that for the whole 13-month term. But then once I started going month to month, they were like, you're going to pay basically $9,000. It went up like not 50%, but almost. And I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. I can't. I simply cannot. Did you hear me? I just said my savings are gone. And I had a lot of savings, okay? My next out is AirPods. This has actually been an out for me since January of last year when they were stolen at Equinox. And then the person took them back to their freaking mansion in Laguna Hills. But they're horrible for you. They're microwaving your brain. I don't use them anymore. You probably shouldn't either, but you know. Okay, wait, this camera flashing is making me anxious. Maybe I should just change cameras and finish this off so I'm not like frantic. I thought I was going to be filming 2 episodes today and I thought I was going to have good lighting, but that did not come to pass. So let's just finish this up. My next out is high-waisted shit. Kind of already talked about that, but next I have being nice. Continuing to be very kind, but not nice. And there's a very big difference there. And something I have always been is kind. And unfortunately, I've always been nice as well. I think being nice has really caused me a lot of pain. I will always be kind. Always. But that's different. My phone fell over. My next out is 99% of my clothing. Kind of already touched on that. Wow. You can really tell the headspace I was in when I wrote this, and also just where I'm at in life currently. Which is frustrating because I've somewhat been here before, but really thought I healed from it. But it just presented in such a different way this time. Anywho, my next out is avoidant attachment, and not for myself, okay? Again, in a partner or potential partner, if they're avoidant, no. So let me finish my full out. Avoidant attachment and or being the one to help a man learn how to be a human. Because what happens is I do that and then things end and then they never leave me alone because how could you? No. We can get into that later, but just they're too late. They're too late and they have hurt me too much at that point. Something I was thinking about is I would prefer, not that I'm going to do this either, but I have preferred a relationship with a narcissist, a malignant narcissist, versus someone with avoidant attachment. Whether it's dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant, don't care. Because with a narcissist, you kind of like, it's hell and it's awful, but that's kind of the point. It's hell and it's awful and you know that it's bad because it's so clearly bad. But with an avoidant, you're like, it's just, and then the end of it all, it's like, whoa. To be honest, I can't put a label on what just happened to me in my situation yet. I think it's actually both in my recent relationship, but it's just so much more straightforward. Like when I got out of things with my abusive ex, the one that people, you know, public figure, he went to jail, blah, blah, blah. It was so much easier for me to swallow. And like, you know, I ended it. It was cut and dry because I had a restraining order. There's that part. But even if I hadn't, like, yes, narcissistic abuse really fucks you up. But there's something so sinister, and the betrayal and the abandonment and the confusion and heartbreak and devastation that's left after an avoidant leaves, and also when you piece things together. And you know what? I'm gonna end that out right there and just say I'm not doing that shit again, okay? You're secure or I'm not speaking to you. Because here's the thing, I have always had secure attachment until I dated someone with, well, actually, this is kind of interesting. My first boyfriend in LA had anxious attachment. He also had borderline personality disorder. And so he was anxious. So naturally I was a bit more avoidant, but still secure. Like I didn't just like, I'm not talking to you. You know, I was not avoidant because I was a secure person, and I had been in my 2 long-term relationships before that. Then the next person I dated was abusive. So I'm not going to actually categorize that one. Then I dated someone who was dismissive avoidant. So naturally, maybe not naturally, I don't know, I was more anxious. The next person I would say was secure, but then toward the end became fearful avoidant, which made me become more anxious. So I am, at my core, I'm secure, and it really depends. I'm maybe not that great at remaining secure. Let's finish this list, shall we? My last 4 are all like, my next out is letting men get away with things. That actually goes not just for partners, but just things that I've dealt with in life. You know, being sex trafficked and that still being an ongoing thing. Just men in general getting away with things. That's an out for me. Does that mean it's going to stop happening? No, but personally, I'm not going to let that happen anymore. Okay? I will tell your mom. I will tell your sister. I will tell your cousin. I will tell my podcast. So how about that? The next one, as an out, I have in quotes, I'm not litigious. Really, this should be an in, and it should be it kind of goes along with my justice thing, but like, you know how many times I could have sued someone or a corporation, whatever, but like, I'm not litigious. And yes, there are times where it's like, it's not worth it, but let me tell you something. There are a few times, including one that's ongoing right now, where it absolutely is worth it. And it's not that I'm passive, but it does appear that way because I'm like, I have to protect my energy, especially right now. I'm so beaten down, blah, blah, blah. And that's all very true. But like, guess what? I'm going to reach out and get help from people, and they're going to be litigious on my behalf. Okay? Getting a little crazy at the end of this episode here. Don't know if that's because I'm melting, or if it's because I've been talking for so long, or if it's because of what I'm talking about here at the end. Man, we need to like have a palate cleanser at the end of these if you're getting a little crazy though. Guys, I have 8 more minutes in this studio space. Okay, we need to finish this up. Fuck, I can't believe I really thought I was gonna do 2 episodes. That's crazy. I thought I was gonna do 2 episodes. I thought they were gonna come in and do the cover, which we probably could still do, but we'll need to do it somewhere else. I thought a lot more things were gonna get done, but the setup was a little hard because the lighting was not what I thought it was gonna be, and we didn't bring stuff. They literally like, should we go get stuff? And I was like, no, I'll make it work. And also like, the first episode back shouldn't be that high production because let's like not get used to that, I guess. I don't know. Let's low expectations, high. I don't know why I was just mixing risk and reward with expectations and outcome, but it's probably for the best that I don't do another one, or I should probably take a break, eat a snack, drink something, and then do the other one. Okay, let's finish this, guys. Why did I have to have a lip blister? Like, of all the days to have a lip blister when I never have an issue with my lips, it's the next one. Guys, I just had to delete a sex video off of this memory card because it ran out of space. I hope I have imported that to my computer. I don't know if I have though. It was one from out of town that I actually forgot existed, but I just deleted it so that I could continue talking to you. Because, I mean, if I didn't know it existed, probably didn't need it, right? Right. Okay. That's also why the fucking camera angle probably changed again. The next one I have, comforting a man while he is pathetically sobbing because he cheated, lied, hurt me. You know when you find out that a man cheated on you or lied to you in a big way, or I also wrote hurts me, just in any way, but specifically when it's like you found out some shit and the way that there's just snot and tears and liquid coming out of everywhere, and they are just like shaking and blubbering. And you know what? I really hope I never do this again, because it is hard as like a nurturing person. But I put his head in my neck and I comfort him, and it's like, bitch, you've never once comforted me while I've cried from what you did. So why am I comforting you when you're crying because I found out that you've been doing some shit that has hurt me? I'm sorry, but it's pathetic of me to comfort a pathetic man. And I would like to not bring that with me into 2026, okay? Lastly, my last out is just things being cringy. As someone who's never been embarrassed in my entire life, because in order to be embarrassed, you have to be embarrassed, which I can't relate to. Cringe. Who cares? So anyway, I have to literally be out of this studio in 2 minutes, and I need to pack all my stuff up. So I'm sorry for the abrupt ending. We're supposed to have like a palate cleanser. Actually, what we're supposed to do is answer calls from you guys, but I didn't really think that was going to happen today. So I was so close. I was so close. My camera ran out of space again. So we're ending on my phone. If this isn't a podcast by Annalise frickin' Mishler, I don't know what is. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. I'm so happy to be back. I have so much to say. And I love you.